you waited, what, 30, 40 years to put out your first solo record, but I'm
Mhm.
hearing that you've already got stuff ready for record number 2.
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. It's Rennie Maxwell and Weasel with another Audacy check-in. We've got the man, the myth, the Mondo metal maven, Mick Mars. Alliteration is fun. Mick, by way of introduction, I mean, you've single-handedly responsible for laying down the some of the heaviest riffs and rhythms over the last 40 years with Motley, blistering leads, so melodic that you can sing them. They get stuck in your head like a vocal line. You're part of the very fabric of popular rock music of the last 40 years. So we're super stoked to talk to you today, man. We're here to talk about your first solo album. We are stoked for this thing. The Other Side of Mars. We've got the first 3 songs off of it. Loyal to the Lie still spins my head around every time I'm cranking it. It rips. It's heavy. It's what we'd expect from you. Right Side of Wrong, you've got the same singer, Jacob Bunton, on both of those. But the other song we've heard, Undone, is you've got 2 singers on this record. Brian Gamboa, am I saying that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. How did you come upon these 2 dudes? Because they fit your music perfectly.
I met them through Paul Taylor. I guess they're friends of him or worked with him before or something. And I told him I was looking for something different, like on the 2 variations of the between Brian and Jacob.
Yeah.
And they were friends of Paul's. So he introduced me to them. Michael Wagner introduced me to Paul. So it's like this big circle thing that went on. And Ray Luzier also came on board. And I really didn't think that he would, do something with
Really?
me. Yeah.
Why?
I mean, he's a monster drummer.
He is a monster drummer. I mean, what he does in Korn, what he's done over the years, he's a top session guy. I mean, I think he would fit. I mean, who doesn't want to jam with Mick Mars? I mean, let's be honest.
Mick, I got a question about the new record. I was reading some of the press releases that your people sent over. And is it true that you've had at least parts of the guitar lick for L.A. Noir, which is a song on the new record? You've had that floating around for 30 years?
Just about, yeah.
That's unbelievable, man.
Wow.
Well, I felt that it wasn't really, a suitable kind of a thing for Motley Crue.
Yep.
Because it's 6/4 time, and not saying like, that's a real kind of like a departure from the 4/4/4.
Sure.
Yeah.
And not very melodic. It's an awesome lick, because I love those old flute movies and from the 40s and that stuff, So yeah, I wrote that lick and it just didn't feel right for Motley, We
were talking about Michael Wagner earlier, who was involved with Motley that you brought in back in '81 for Too Fast for Love. And of course, he's an uber super producer from back in the day. How is it working with Michael back again on this album?
Awesome. I mean, we always stayed in contact and stuff over the years.
Yeah.
And, I was going like, let's, Michael was retiring and I had retired, right? And so I go, know anybody that wants to engineer my record? And he goes, yeah, me. And I go,
oh, nice.
Right over. Yeah. So, and he was retiring. So, like when he got hold of the Too Fast for Love album, it was the guy that recorded it first was horrible. He just like plugged straight into the board and EQ'd it. But so when you play the tape on something else, how are you going to know what the EQ was?
Right. Yeah.
EQ'd flat, right? But Michael came in and that's when I called Michael and had him come over and fix that.
Yeah.
And shortly before we had Elektra Records, and then RTP came in and added a couple things. But there's still a lot of people that like the Michael one, still a lot.
Oh, right on.
And so he did that record and my last record. So it was kind of a full circle for him and me.
Bookended right there. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
you waited what 30, 40 years to put out your first solo record, but I'm
Mhm.
hearing that you've already got stuff ready for record number 2.
Yes, that's correct.
Wow.
Well, it took me 40 years because I was, Motley was priority.
A machine, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, okay, I got an idea. Oh, okay, it's about Motley.
Mhm.
So it's like when I was in Motley, I wrote Motley Crue songs, and now that I'm retired, I'm just me. I mean, if Motley wanted me to write songs with them again, of course I would. In a
Okay.
minute,
sure, sure.
Sure.
And but right now I'm just like me, so I'm writing, and it's not Motley, and it's how I feel, my
And it's
ideas and my kind of thing, and kind of like trying to reinvent myself or bring myself up to date, something
Well, you're
different
timeless,
aside from
Mick.
like,
I mean,
yeah,
come
Mick,
on.
huh?
you and Keith Richards don't have a damn thing to worry about catching up with this or latest
Yeah,
trends. You just
exactly.
keep doing what you do, and people are going to dig it, Mick.
Oh,
That's
thank
what I
you.
was saying. You still kill it. You killed it. You brought it. I mean, note for note, those solos that to watch you pull that off live is mind blowing. It really was. Yeah.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
man. You don't know how much I appreciate that.
Well,
Killer.
Mick, and those are the 2 words the only thing I wrote down to talk to you about is I wanted to thank you, and that's all I've got to say is thank you. I mean, it for everything that you've given. You have no idea how much you've impacted my life, Remy's life, and I'm sure millions of fans
Millions around the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's I'm very humbled. Thank you.
The Other Side of Mars, Mick's solo debut coming out Friday the 23rd. It's been amazing to talk to you, Mick, and I appreciate the time, bro. Me and Weasel.